name is Xavier Marcellus. I'm from Los Angeles, and I'm a painter, photographer, and a creator. Some of the things that led to my pursuit of art for me were environmental and circumstantial. I think for all artists, we're a product of the times that we're born into. And I'm a 90s kid, so I came up in a very specific time in LA culture, and I was blessed to be able to experience a lot of different cultural expression, artistic expression, counterculture expressions, and it leaves an imprint on you coming up in a city where expression is the common language. Art is inseparable from Los Angeles, so it's always been something that I had absorbed and I had been around, and unknowingly it was something that I had always been working for. I'm coming to find out. One of the moments and situations that caused me to pursue art full-time was the social development of how things were coming about. Things are changing culturally, creatively, and we have avenues now that didn't exist before, and we have different ways that we can use to express ourselves. A lot of artists are afraid to fully dedicate themselves to expression and creation because it's an open-ended agreement. There's no guaranteed fiscal return. But being someone that studied art, studied photography, studied poetry, I had always looked at all these people that had radically, culturally influenced their times by expressing themselves. It's changed governments, it's been involved in every revolution. Music, poetry, photography, and art has been a part of this country's development since the start. For me, wanting to add my 2 cents into that long conversation was almost a rite of passage. These are tumultuous times, but there's also no better time to be an artist in Los Angeles. You have the means to make change, you have the means to connect, you have the means to educate, you have the means to spread awareness, and you can all do it from right here. I don't think there's ever been a time like that, or there will ever be another time like that. So I felt like it was time. I felt like it was necessary for me to dedicate myself and throw myself in 100% and see what came of it. And to be honest, I didn't want to be one of those artists that got to 40 or 50 and asked myself, what if? There was a couple of things that factored into me taking that leap. I have seen a lot of artists and a lot of other people struggle with mental health and overall trying to figure it out. And we have this preconceived timeline of this guaranteed amount of time that we're gonna have to do that. And I have learned that that is not so. We don't have anything set in stone when it comes to the amount of time that we're gonna be given to figure this out, but we do have the same 24 hours every day. We do have the resources that we are currently able to use, and we do have the ideas, and we do have the current artists and the collectives. And to be honest, that's all you can do, is use what you have where you're at. It's a simple notion, but it is incredibly imperative to understanding how important that is to making use of the time that you have and the time that we have. I believe in art, you're rewarded by the energy that you put into it. If you put good energy into your art and authentic energy into your art, you will see the return. So for me, understanding that entire process of the things necessary, the time that I have, and the people that I'm around made me stop struggling with if this is something I wanted to do and make the decision that this was, and to go on 100%. I don't have a plan B. When I think about the word fear, I think inevitability. I have never done anything worth doing that did not momentarily fill me with fear. The only way for me to rid myself of fear is to confront the thing that I'm afraid of. I've learned that when you call things by their name, you take the power of the unknown away from them. And I think that as people and as artists and as creatives, a large part of our fear is rooted in uncertainty and the unknown. And I think that that leads to easily becoming irrational when it comes to how to work through that process. But if you can learn to accept it, that this is simply the current state of circumstances and that you still have full creative control on how to conduct yourself, it becomes manageable, whether it's all at once or bit by bit. Two things can happen. You can succeed or you can fail. Most of the time, neither will kill you, and each one will teach you a lesson about how to do it better the next time. I saw a movie a while ago, and one of these quotes really stuck with me, and it was about the philosophy and the ideology of fear. Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts and in the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. Don't misunderstand me, danger is very real, but fear is a choice. A lot of the time, we decide to be afraid. Fear is not something that is absolute. It exists in our minds. 90% of the time, how many times have you been afraid of something that does not currently, and a lot of the times will not ever come to exist? It's one of the worst things that you can do when it comes to developing yourself and your psyche, trying to be successful. There's enough things to tangibly and realistically be afraid of in this world. I'm understanding day by day that it's a choice and that I have the power to decide to not be afraid and to not let it dictate how I articulate myself, how I create, how I move, and how I connect.